Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. They're coming after your money. And I think a lot of you realize that. Maybe some people don't. I want to talk about it here for a few minutes. First, I want to welcome all of the new people. We have a lot of people joining every day, both on YouTube and over on Patreon. For those of you not on Patreon, to let you know what we do there, everything that's on here on YouTube goes on Patreon, but a whole lot more goes on Patreon than goes on YouTube. That's a little bit more selective audience, shall I say. I just put up one. Things are getting a lot more tense. Things are getting a lot more challenging, and they're coming from every direction. And things that I put up some time back that people kind of wondered, well, I don't see how that's really going uh, to affect us here. I don't see how that pertains to what's going on in our country, and at least in the United States. When I would talk about lessons from the IRA and lessons from organized crime and things like that, and I put those over on most of them. I think I put a couple maybe here on YouTube, but most of that goes on Patreon. And more as things develop, more and more people are seeing how those things do apply, how people need to have an understanding of those situations and learn from the lessons from those situations. And things are moving a lot faster, aren't they? We never would have believed 6 months ago that things that are going on now would be going on. For our friends in Australia, we keep you in mind. If anybody here doesn't know what's going on in Australia, look it up. Keep that in mind. We never would have believed uh, what's happening and essentially what's a police state now in Australia, or in certain sections of Australia anyway. Either look it up for yourself, or a lot of it's over on Patreon as well. I tell people that the lessons from those places from Northern Ireland are going to be able to be applied very well here in the United States, and we're getting there fast. To Last night, I believe it was, I put up one over there entitled "The IRA Way," and it was some lessons and some observations that I have from my own experience. And I also just put up a few things over there on Patreon about Bloody Sunday, because if you don't understand the the overall situation of Ireland, and if you don't understand uh, the particulars of Bloody Sunday, and we'll let the street guy go by me. I remember when big cars sounded like big cars. Uh, and you don't understand the things that led on then the hunger strikes and things, and make no mistake, these things and the lessons from them are important when we look forward to we're not looking forward, but when we look ahead to what we may be dealing here in our country fairly soon. If you don't understand the overview, you won't understand the smaller things that I will be talking about. Uh, Things to do, things to keep in mind, things to be ready for, things to prepare for. So if you're interested in that and you really kind of want to go up the next level, the link to the Patreon page is down here. It's just $1 a month, and it's going to be well worth your dollar to learn some of that stuff. So um, that's it for that. They're coming over after your money, and I think most people understand that. The damage that was done to our economy with all the lockdowns, it put thousands, tens of thousands, perhaps thousands of people out of work. And I don't just mean the people who lost their jobs, but people who lost their businesses that provided jobs for others, business that businesses that supported families and provided and promised an economic future for families. People don't realize, most people, because most people work for someone else, or for the government. Uh, People don't realize how much family businesses uh, contribute to the economy, to society, and support, and how many families are supported there, just like family farms, family ranches. These family businesses were such an important part of our economic structure in this country, in the United States, and I'm sure it's the same in other places, in Canada, in England, in Australia, in Europe, where we also have viewers. We're thinking about you guys and what's going on in your countries now. It was a basic part of our economic fabric of our country, and many of these were put out of business because of these lockdowns over the last 18 months. And many of those will never come back because they ruined families. They ruined people that had jobs for those. And the struggle and the total effect of this has not yet been seen because of the moratorium that was placed on evictions. But we're about to see it. There are those who say they believe this was all part of a plan. I can't disagree with that, because if you were going to destroy a country, you couldn't do it any better than that. Okay? And whether I think that myself doesn't matter. The truth of the matter is that it has had the effect on our destruction of an entire segment of our economic structure, of our society. Now they're moving into something else. Now, you've probably heard about this part of this bill that wants to empower the IRS, or wants to, let me put it this way, it wants to require banking institutions to report transactions of $600 or above. That gets to pretty much every major transaction that's going to occur. In other words, they want to have an ongoing record of every major economic transaction, financial transaction that you make. They want to be able to trace everything. There's nothing. Well, there are very few things that are and should be as private to an individual as their financial information. There's no reason for the government to be able to know everything that you do with your money. We know that it's all about control, and many of the banks are fighting back. Many of the financial institutions are fighting back against this, but we know that it's not the producers that run so much of our country now. It's the parasites in Congress being in our government, shall I say, the swamp, the deep state. It's those parasites who are managed and directed by those above them that make our laws and therefore require certain things of the producers. So the producers are being controlled by the parasites. Isn't that interesting? You know, well, I won't use that analogy. So what do? First off, as I've said before, or let me back up here. A lot of people have said, buy precious metals, buy gold, buy silver, buy this, buy that. I am not a proponent of that. I've always been a proponent of holding cash, keeping as much cash out of their hands as possible. That doesn't mean I'm not recommending an underground economy. I'm not suggesting not reporting the money that you make. That's a requirement under the law, and you don't want to violate that. You want to do what's right, simply because you don't want to pull undue attention on yourself, right? It's just easier. Make your money, pay the taxes on it, and then you've got nothing to worry about until now. Okay. One of the dangers of this reporting is, and I was listening to Dan Bongino. If any of you listen to him, I don't regularly listen to him. It's not that I don't like him. I do like him. I just don't normally have time. But he brought up a very good point the other day, and that was because of the economic mess that our so-called leaders have gotten us into, of both parties. Uh, it may be something that they will be considering in order to pay off all this stuff. Not pay off. They're not interested in paying off the debt. They're not interested in any of that. They want to continue spending more money than they have, but they may go to something called a negative interest rate. If you know what that is, uh, that in order to pay off, in order to extract more of our money from us, they've already taxed us to death. And once we put it in the bank, in order to get more money from us, they may be going into those accounts and withdrawing money by negative interest, meaning that instead of putting your money in the bank and them getting you a paltry amount of interest on that, no, it's going to cost you money to keep your money in the bank. Now, isn't that sweet? Okay, and they will start trying to pull that money out of the bank and use it for their own uses against us. Now, ain't that sweet? So, what do? Like I said, I'm not a proponent of gold and silver or any other precious metals. I won't get into all that. I've done it once before. Maybe I'll do a separate one on that. And I know I'm going to get a lot of people saying, "But it's the best way to go." If I had some time with you to explain that, I could explain why it's not the best way to go, but I'm not going to do that right now. I would suggest that you start, if you don't keep cash yourself, that you start keeping cash. You don't want your money tied up in a financial institution where you can't get to it. Now, how much do you keep? Okay, what percentage of your money do you keep in cash? And the last time, the last time I said something like that on a video, I had a couple of people said, "Well, I suppose you're going to keep all your cash in some place to where it can be, burned in a fire, stolen, or keep those silly comments to yourself. That's stupid. I'm going to leave it up to the individual to figure out how they want to keep this, okay? So ridiculous comments are going to be immediately deleted simply because they're stupid, unless they're so stupid that I think I'll leave it up just for entertainment purposes and let everybody else have their comments. Because I forgot to mention this, I do have the smartest commenters in YouTube land here. So if somebody wants to put up a dumb comment, maybe I'll just let the rest of the commenters have at them. We'll see. Keep a good percentage. I'll put it that way, because an amount is different to different people. But keep a good percentage of your money in cash available to you. You don't want it all in a bank to where if something happened, an EMP, a CME, whatever, you can't get to it. And right now there's going to be said, well, but if that happened, cash you couldn't spend cash either. I've written books on this. Go read my books. Okay. But have it available. You don't want it locked up in a bank somewhere to all of a sudden, or you don't want all of it in there. Okay, we all need a certain amount in a bank because that's how we pay our bills. That's how we pay our mortgage. That's how we pay our utility bills, right? And that's whatever we pay. It's nice to have that. It's convenient. But you don't want all of it there beyond your reach where somebody pushing a button can all of a sudden, you go to the ATM and it says, we're sorry. We're not able to access your account right now, or you're not able to access your account right now, which means you can't have your money right now. Please come in during regular business hours, see us in person, or contact so-and-so at a certain phone number to where they will decide how much of your money you can have. You don't want them to have that power over you. So I will leave it up to you to decide what you think is a good amount for you, what percentage you think is a good percentage for you to keep in cash, but I would suggest you keep a good percentage. where you can put your hands on it right now. Okay, I think things are moving so fast. You ask the people in Australia what's going on, and and if they can get their information out, they'll tell you that I'm right. So things are moving so fast. More people are about to lose their jobs. Like I said in a recent one, the healthcare system is about to go in the tank. A lot of law enforcement officers are leaving. A lot of fire are leaving. A lot of EMS are leaving their jobs over these threats that employers are passing on from an overreaching government. It could be time. Go and watch my video on Patreon about the IRA way. I suggest you do that because there's going to be more to learn there. But be able to act quickly and have control over your money, because they're coming for the part you don't have control over. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Wish you all a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And the thing you need most after God, your family, and a good support system is a way to make money and a way to keep your money and a way to have your say-so over how you spend it and what you do with it, okay? You all have a good day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.